The world of Formula One just came to a grinding halt. And the epicenter of the shockwave is the Shanghai International Circuit. If you thought the 2026 regulations were going to level the playing field, what we just witnessed from Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari during the Chinese Grand Prix sprint and qualifying sessions has changed the narrative forever. This wasn't just a bad day at the office. This was a fundamental shift in the power dynamic of the sport that has left Toto Wolff smiling, Frédéric Vasseur scrambling, and Lewis Hamilton facing a reality he might not have signed up for. We are diving deep into the technical breakdown of the Ferrari's failure, the staggering pace of the Mercedes Loophole car, and the specific moment in the cockpit where Lewis realized that his dream of an 8th title might be slipping through his fingers in the most public way possible. Let's set the scene, because the tension in the paddock was thick enough to cut with a front wing endplate. Heading into China, the hype was at an all-time high. This is Hamilton's kingdom. He's won here 6 times. He knows every bump, every apex, and exactly how to manage the graining on that infamously front, limited track. But the Lewis Hamilton we saw today wasn't the king of Shanghai. He looked like a man fighting a losing battle against physics and his own machinery. The shock started in the sprint. Lewis managed to claw his way into a leading position through pure, unadulterated racecraft. He was placing the Ferrari SF26 in spots it had no right to be, defending against George Russell like his life depended on it. But then, the straight, line speed data started scrolling across the monitors, and the entire pit wall went silent. The Mercedes was gaining nearly 0.4 of a second on the back straight alone. 0.4. In modern F1, that isn't a gap, that's a different category of racing. When George Russell finally breezed past Lewis, it didn't even look like a DRS overtake. It looked like a top-tier car passing a junior category runner. The shock on Lewis's face in the post-race interviews told the story better than any telemetry could. He admitted, and I quote, "I killed the tires just trying to stay in the mirrors." Think about that. One of the greatest tire managers in the history of the sport had to destroy his rubber just to stay within a second of a Mercedes that wasn't even pushing at 100%. This confirms every fear we've had about the 2026 power unit loophole that Mercedes has exploited. They have found a way to deploy electrical energy for roughly 15% longer than Ferrari or Red Bull, and in a high-traction, long, straight circuit like China, that advantage is lethal. But the real shock, the moment that is going to dominate the headlines for the next month, happened during the main qualifying session. Ferrari attempted a bold strategic play to counter the Mercedes straight line speed by running a significantly lower downforce setup on Lewis's car. It was a all-or-nothing gamble. If he could hold them off in the corners, he'd have the legs to defend on the straights. Instead, it turned into a strategic nightmare. The car became an undrivable pivot on the technical middle sector. We saw Lewis drifting, literally rallying the car through the hairpin, trying to find grip that simply wasn't there. When he crossed the line and saw he was P6 behind both Mercedes and both McLarens, the radio silence was deafening. "No, copy, Lewis. No, we'll get them tomorrow." Just the sound of a man breathing heavily into his helmet, realizing the magnitude of the mountain he has to climb. Why is this a nuclear option moment for F1? Because it proves that the 2026 engine freeze hasn't stopped the arms race, it has just moved it into the shadows. Ferrari's internal combustion engine is a masterpiece, but their energy recovery system is clearly lagging behind Brackley's latest innovation. The shock in the paddock is the realization that Ferrari might have built a car that is too traditional for the new era. While Mercedes went radical with their electrical deployment, Ferrari focused on balance. In China, balance doesn't win races, raw, unbridled electrical power does. We also have to talk about the psychological impact. For the first time since he donned the Ferrari red, Lewis looked rattled. During the media pen session, he didn't give the usual PR answers. He was blunt. He talked about the massive deficit and the unbelievable speed of the cars behind him. This is a man who moved to Maranello to win. He didn't move there to be a best of the rest driver while his old team celebrates a dominant 1-2 finish. The China shock isn't just about one race result, it's about the realization that the grass isn't always greener, especially when your old team has discovered a technical secret that makes everyone else look like they're standing still. The FIA is now under immense pressure. There are rumors of an emergency meeting between the team principals tonight in Shanghai. Red Bull is reportedly leading a protest alongside Ferrari, claiming that the Mercedes energy harvesting method goes against the spirit of the regulations. But as we know in F1, spirit doesn't hold up in court. Only the letter of the law does. If Mercedes has found a way to harvest energy during the braking phase in a way that the FIA's standard sensors aren't fully capturing, they have effectively broken the sport for the next 3 years. As we look toward the Grand Prix tomorrow, the outlook for Lewis is grim. He's starting deep in the pack on a track where tyre degradation is the highest of the season. If he pushes to make up places, he'll hit the cliff within 10 laps. If he saves his tyres, he'll be a sitting duck for the DRS trains. It is a checkmate scenario. The fans in the grandstands came to see a miracle, but what they got was a wake-up call. The 2026 era isn't a battle of drivers anymore, it's a battle of high-voltage engineers, and right now, Mercedes is playing 4D chess, while everyone else is playing checkers. This Lewis-Hamilton shock in China is the final piece of the puzzle. It connects the nuclear option, rumors we've been tracking for months, to the actual on-track performance. The gap is real, the crisis is real, and for Lewis Hamilton, the dream of that record-breaking 8th title has never felt further away. We are watching a legend confront the limits of his machinery in real time, and it is the most uncomfortable, gripping drama in sports today. Make no mistake, the fallout from this weekend will change the 2026 season. We are going to see upgrades being fast-tracked, legal challenges being filed, and perhaps the most aggressive development race in Ferrari's history. But for now, the silver arrows are flying high, and Lewis Hamilton is left wondering if he made the right choice. The manual override era has arrived, and it has claimed its first major victim in the heart of China. This is the state of Formula One today, chaotic, controversial, and completely unpredictable. Stay tuned, because this civil war is only just beginning, and the next chapter is going to be even more explosive. Don't look away, because the 2026 grid is about to be turned upside down.